Hey everybody, it's Rob the Mail Guy, and I'm here with another vinyl video update. This video update will be about 3 new albums that I recently purchased. And of course, at the end, I always give a shout out to a band, something that I've come across that I kind of feel like deserves a shout out. I've been doing that a lot in these videos now where I have a little segment right at the end where I talk about an album from a band that I really like that I feel like deserves some recognition. Also, the last video I talked about a favorite manga store in San Jose that I go to. So I'm kind of doing that now. I've enjoyed it. It's one of those things where it gives me an opportunity to talk about things, promote things I enjoy, to use this platform to get people to check out the stuff that I think is worth checking out. Because definitely right now in this world, you need something to turn to, trust me, when it comes to either music, movies, entertainment. And I've got you covered. I do have you covered. And so let me begin with the vinyl update, though. I've got 3 albums, so it's hopefully going to be a shorter video than usual. I am known to ramble on and talk a lot as just who I am. I like to babble and talk about what I like. So I'll try to keep this brief, try to just kind of get to the meat of the matter with these releases. But all 3 are great albums, and I'm really happy to add them. The first one, this is the Cars Candio. I went to Barnes & Noble and I saw this album for a good price, and I thought to myself, got to pick it up. This is a classic release from the Cars. It's definitely one of my favorites, as well as Shake It Up. I have that on vinyl. The first Cars album is amazing as well, but this one I like particularly because it has a few of my favorite songs. Of course, Let's Go, Double Life, Candio, the title track. And then the last song on the album, which I've always thought this is crazy to me, that the last song is probably, in my opinion, one of their most well-recognized songs, and one of my favorite Cars songs is Dangerous Type. And Dangerous Type is a song that, to me, what's crazy about that track, not only do I love the Cars version, but I love the Letters to Cleo cover that is in the movie The Craft. Like, the Cars wrote a song that a band was able to take and contribute to a film. And if you haven't seen The Craft, amazing film about this high school group of witches. It was made in the 90s. Unbelievable film. Really well directed, well acted. The actors and actresses in the film, very well known. Some of them went on to have big careers. Was it the girl in Scream? Neve Campbell. She went on to have a big career, and also the guy who played the killer in Scream is in it. Go figure. So, but The Craft, getting back to the song, Dangerous Type, is actually used during this one scene where it shows the 4 main actresses walking, and just that shot of them. To me, it's like so iconic, and to think that was, again, originally written by the Cars. And I just love it, and it's so cool. But huge influential band right here, the new wave rock scene. I think a lot of the stuff they did, Rick Ocasek as a songwriter and just as like an individual. I mean, the guy had such an influence in the underground music scene at that time, and they did in the bands in the 80s that I think kind of took what they were doing, the experimentation, also the keyboard playing by Greg Hawkes is fascinating, right? His sound, it's so distinct, and it gives the band that unique kind of original sound. They just put some great albums out, and a lot of bands I think can say that they were influenced by the Cars. And Letters to Cleo right there, one of those bands that you could tell had probably been influenced by them and covered their song and ended up in a film that a lot of people, like I said, it's one of those scenes that you will always remember, right? Everything fits, right? The song, the 4 females walking towards the camera, just everything about it. It's a classic. So, but check this out, Candio by the Cars if you haven't. And if you go to Barnes & Noble, you might find it. It's, like I said, it was at a really good price, and I was really happy to find it. And it's on clear vinyl, too, which is really cool. So check that out. Next album is something I had ordered from Sentient Ruin. This is Ash Prison's debut full-length release on Sentient Ruin. It's called Future Torn. If you are a fan of dark industrial music, very similar to Ministry, I would say when I say Ministry, I'm talking The Land of Rape and Honey. I'm talking Mind is a Terrible Thing to Taste. Pretty much, and also going up to Psalm 69, I would say, is that period. Also some black metal, some other kind of noise, industrial bands. I think you could hear influence Ash Prison. But the three musicians that play in this group are unbelievable. I love the sound. I love the tone of this album. So haunting, so dark, just so nihilistic. It's very raw, and just the experimentation in terms of the compositions, the guitar, these riffs, they sound just so haunting, right? And they have that very dark effect. And the vocals, the singer who sings in Ash Prison, he is also the singer in the band Abstractor, and I'm a huge Abstractor fan. If you haven't watched my Sentient Ruin release, I talk about my Abstractor releases. One of my favorite albums is from Abstractor, Abominion. It's such an amazing, heavy sounding release, and his vocals perfectly complement the arrangements that Ash Prison was able to execute and create. So I'm telling you, Future Torn by Ash Prison will probably be in my top albums of this year for sure. I'm talking like it could be in the top 5. I love this album. It's just crazy. And also I think the guy that does the guitar parts, and he also contributes and composes, the music, one of the 3 members, he is in a band called Sixth Circle, which is a band also on Sentient Ruin. And gosh, he put out an album that's just crazy. Like, I'm talking, it's like demonic themed synthwave, like dark synthwave music. And it has like the name of demons for the titles of the songs. And it's just like this occult, industrial, like dark wave party, like like ritualistic party sounding, industrial music. I loved it. That was a good release too. Check them out. That's Sixth Circle. They're on a Sentient Ruin. Actually, they have 2 albums. And the first one, I was a huge fan. I loved that, the first one. I'd highly recommend it if you haven't checked or heard of it. It's on Sentient Ruin, but you can also pick this up. I've got a couple other Sentient Ruin releases that I've pre-ordered, and I can't wait for those to come in and talk about, because 2023 has definitely been Sentient Ruin's year. There's been some amazing albums that have come out. The label is just kicking ass. One of the best labels in underground extreme music, bar none. I'm sorry. Like, as a fan of metal, punk, underground, Sentient Ruin, it's just so hard to just, right now with young bands, I feel, and young labels, to have what Sentient Ruin has had. And it's difficult, right? It's so difficult. And if you can go out and buy and support the albums, I know a lot of people, it's hard, right? Money, the economy, the world, just everything, right? And even shipping delays kind of deter people from going out, I think, sometimes and purchasing albums. But Sentient Ruin, for the most part, has persevered through a lot of that. And the artists that they find and work with, there's just such a great presentation, and also the quality, right? It's something you want to own. It's like that. It's an album, right? And I think so many metal bands have kind of lost this mentality of album-oriented music. It's like they come up with a few songs, and really it's like a lot of filler, right? And I don't want to pick on anybody specifically, but there are some bands that you hear in the metal world, the Dinosaurs, or the bands that have been around for a while, and yeah, it's great that a certain Bay Area thrash metal band is putting out a new album. They've been around for 30 some years, and isn't it great, everybody? But the problem is, there's like 1 or 2 tracks that you say, okay, they're not bad, and then everything else just sucks. Or it sounds like something, that was slopped together in the studio, right? It's just poorly executed. And so, like Ash Prison, what I loved is, like each song, the album, the production just hits you. So that's why, again, a lot of the albums that especially the newer artists that I'm promoting and talking about, are on Sentient Ruin, because that's the quality that I enjoy and I respect. And that's what I'm gravitating towards. And I'd like to see, there's other labels too out there that I think are doing a good job with the young artists. Unspeakable Acts Records, they were doing a great job for a while. Tank Crimes too, they've got stuff going, and re-releasing, which is great too. Is not only do you want to hear new music, but you do also want to hear bands getting a chance to re-release albums that have not been available to people. And here's a great example of an album that was out of print for a little while, and they decided to put it back. If you can see it, this is A Shedding of Skin by Protector. And this is a German death metal band. This album came out about the early 90s. It is just a glorious old school death metal album. Very similar if you're into Entombed, if you're into Grave. You know, it has a bit of the Swedish death metal, but I also hear, again, some death thrash influence. Bands like Morbid Saint. It has a little bit of that feel as well, but Protector, this album, I think, just went under the radar for a lot of people, and I discovered it on YouTube. I believe it was Death Metal Supply YouTube channel. I had checked this out long ago, and I loved it. And I saw that there was a copy available on Amazon, and it was the splattered version at, again, a really good price, because I am a bargain hunter. That's what I am. Some people say I'm cheap, but hey, you know, it is what it is. But I saw this and I was like, I want to get it. So, no, this album is just great. Killer riffs. I was playing it today because it just came today. Because there is a story, of course. With me, there's always a story. Trust me. But first, I gotta check this out. The splatter. It's really cool. Look at that. That green with the red and blue. Actually, it's kind of like a, not really like a red. It's almost like a purplish red. It's hard to say. Violet. But I really liked it. Also, it comes with like a poster, lyrics. They went all out, man. This is legit. I was really pleased. And this album was re-released through High Roller Records. And High Roller, again, they're a label that they're not promoting a lot of new young artists, but I really am glad that High Roller is re-releasing these iconic albums that are out of print, or they need to be released, because the fans have been wanting to own physical copies of some of these albums, and High Roller has done such a great job doing that. And it really gives a chance for people to discover, and the young bands can get inspired, right? Like, this is the type of album that I hope a young death metal band listens to, and then they go and they say, you know, okay, as they're writing their music, right, they get an idea. It gets them to focus. And that's what you're hoping, right? That's kind of like what I'm kind of getting at there. But I was really happy to get this release. But it did come with, like I said, a story, a bit of an experience. So I got the notification from Amazon that it was coming Sunday. So 2 days ago here. And it was going to come Sunday and da-da-da. Okay, my order is going to arrive, right? I'm like, okay. Really excited. Yeah, it's coming earlier, actually. It was saying that it was coming earlier than expected. So, all right, can't wait to check it out and see what happens. Well, I get it, and I'm really like, oh, sweet. So I start opening it up, and the package itself was huge. Like, this, I'm talking, this is a vinyl record, and it was a vinyl record, and it was put in like this massive box. Like, my cats are using it like to play in because it's so big, right? You know, why get rid of that? And then it had the regular like cardboard for vinyl packaging, right? So it was like, well, it was well protected. I'll give them that. I'll give Amazon that. I mean, I'm just shocked. You know, I thought, you know, you got to cut down on waste or something, you know, the environment and all that. But geez, they're using massive boxes just for, you know, vinyls. I was like, okay. So I open it up, and sure enough, it's definitely not Protector, A Shedding of Skin. It was like some Jerome Desjardins, da-da-da-da. It was like some indie hipster jazz artist. And I was like, is this an effing joke? What? I mean, I'm pretty sure I ordered the right album. Like, what the hell? So I call Amazon, and you get the whole deal. But I will say this. The person I talked to was very helpful. They understood, because I said, yeah, this is definitely not a death metal album. Just looking at the cover, it's definitely not what I ordered. And they were really cool about it. So they were able to get me the replacement, because they said, oh, yeah, I can fix this for sure. And So they actually got me the album today. They sent it and it came in today, and it's the correct one, as you can see. It's not some hipster indie artist, Jerami to Bobby to whatever, you know. It was probably, I'm going to tell you this, that album is probably financed by the kid's father, who is a vice president at Bush's Baked Beans. And his son is an indie jazz artist that lives in Greenwich Village, and majored in underwater basket weaving art history from NYU, and now makes hipster albums, and his dad finances him, you know, being the executive of Bush's Baked Beans. That is just very specific and very random, but it's a joke that a friend and I have always come up with, these hipsters and their albums that just suck, and you wonder how the hell these kids get the opportunity to make an album and put it out on vinyl. Like, who's going to buy this shit? And then you realize they're connected. So, but anyway, it came. I'm glad Amazon got that corrected. Thank you, Amazon, for that. One of the many times, you know, you need to give credit when credit is due. A lot of people, you know, we complain about certain things, I myself, but when Amazon made a mistake, they stepped at the plate and they provided me with the correct album, and I sent the other one back, no charge, right? Return, and easy process. Very, very, very pleased with that. So here's the recommendation. I thought, since Halloween's coming up, fall, the season, right? The artist I'm going to recommend is Crawl Below. This is called 9 Miles Square. And Crawl Below is a one-man band out of Norwich, Connecticut. And this album, if you are into typo negative, I would say death doom, melodic death doom especially, even some touches of atmospheric black metal, depressive, ambient, atmospheric black metal elements. It's very much got that kind of gothic feel to it too. But I would say the typo you hear a lot, but the riffs on this album, I mean, there's just something, they're just so hypnotic, so catchy. But when I listen to this release, and it's probably because the songs are actually inspired by the history of the area, right? Norwich, Connecticut. And I lived in Old Lyme, Connecticut for a little bit. My dad, when I was young, his company, he had to go out there for a little bit. There was the bank was buying another bank, yada, yada, yada. So we lived in Connecticut for a little bit in this town called Old Lyme. And I remember, like, during the fall, right, Halloween, it made you feel like it was like this authentic Halloween world, right? Not like in the movie Halloween, the first one where they're filming it in LA, yet it's supposed to be in like Illinois. You know, no, this is like authentic, like, wow, you know, the leaves are turning color, the pumpkins are out, you go to the pumpkin patch, and there's just something about when I was listening to this album, it reminded me of like fall, that time of the year, and it's that like that New England town, right, where there's witches getting hung and goblins, you know, kidnapping young women, and that's probably, again, way too descriptive. But anyway, no, this is a really great release, and I like Crawl Below. Charlie Sad Eyes, the individual who he does all the instruments, he sings. He's very much involved in the scene up there, in the Norwich music scene. He plays in a band called Low Moments. If you're into like synth wave and just crazy like 80s sounding, you know, new wave music, that's a fun group. I enjoy them. And he also has another group he played in. Trying to remember now. Was it When the Deadbolt Breaks? I feel bad. Yeah, they're a great group. But Crawl Below, I feel bad. It's slipping my mind. I'm getting too old for this. But anyway, no, this is an awesome release. And he also did an album with his daughter, Animal Schoolbus. It's like a grindcore album. But Crawl Below is definitely, of all his projects, he's involved in like so many different projects. Crawl Below is my favorite. I love it. And this album especially, it's my favorite Crawl Below release, again, without any question, bar none, everybody. So, all right, I think I've babbled on enough. Check them out, Crawl Below. And yeah, that was the update. Probably longer than it should have been, but hey, it is what it is. I hope you enjoyed it. And next time, we'll see what else I have. Like I said, I've got some albums from Sentient Ruin coming. I've pre-ordered. I can't wait to get those releases. Sentient Ruin. We'll be talking about those and some other stuff. You know, whatever comes my way as I go through this life. You know, I might go back to Rasputin's and actually, no, actually, I think I'm going to take a break from Rasputin's, no offense, after my last ordeal. If you want to find out more, like and subscribe and check out that last video where I talk about my story. It's definitely an interesting one, and it makes you think twice about, you know, sometimes going down one of those aisles, because you never know what you're going to find. And I'm not talking about music. But anyway, all right, people, you have a good one. Rob the Mill Guy signing out. Have a good evening wherever you are across this earth.